Imagine a stone heavier than a fully loaded passenger jet, around 200 tons of solid rock, cut from a mountainside. It was hauled across miles of brutal Andean terrain, then set so perfectly against its neighbors that no paper could slide in. No mortar, no iron tools, no wheel, no horses. And still, after 5 centuries, how it was done remains stubbornly incomplete. High above Cusco, on a commanding hilltop, sits Sacsayhuaman, 3 enormous zigzagging terraced walls built from colossal boulders. The largest stones weigh between 128 and 200 tons each, equivalent to stacking 30 large African elephants into a single block. But sheer weight is not the most difficult thing to explain. It is the fit that stops every observer cold. These are not square bricks. They are irregular, lumpy, many-sided shapes, each unique, yet locking together with extraordinary precision. Curved faces match curved faces. Every corner is rounded. Every surface meets its neighbor without a visible gap, and no mortar exists anywhere. Knife blade cannot work between the stones. Hundreds of such joints repeat across the entire hillside, each different, each exact. These walls have outlasted centuries of earthquakes that flattened every Spanish colonial building built around and on top of Sacsayhuaman. The interlocking design and slight inward lean function as a seismic absorption system. The stones shift under pressure, then settle back. That is not coincidence. It is a deliberate structural understanding of how earthquakes move, what we would call advanced engineering anywhere else. The mainstream explanation is broadly reasonable. Stones quarried at Rumiccolca, placed on timber sledges, dragged by teams along prepared roadbeds. Some estimates suggest up to 1,000 men per large stone, pulling with ropes, shaping surfaces by pounding with harder stone hammers. Experimental archaeology has demonstrated that large stones can, in principle, be moved this way, given enough people and sophisticated organization. But the standard account goes quiet precisely where the questions become hardest, especially the precision of the joinery. Stone tools can shape rock. No one disputes that. What they cannot easily explain is the extraordinary exactness achieved on every single joint. There is a genuine gap between the crude tools recovered and the precision achieved. A gap archaeologists acknowledge, but cannot yet close. The second problem is transport logistics at this scale. 200-ton blocks move through mountain terrain with steep grades and sharp turns. Experiments supporting sled transport used much smaller stones on much gentler ground. Far from the real mountain conditions at Sacsayhuaman, a 200-ton stone, once sliding wrong on a mountain slope, becomes catastrophic. A gap the casual explanation tends to quietly admit, but not resolve. The third problem widens everything. At Ollantaytambo, massive stones were quarried across a valley, moved over a river, and hauled up a mountainside. Further south, at Pumapunku in Bolivia, blocks up to 130 tons were transported from quarries as far as 90 kilometers away. The stones at Pumapunku are cut with flat, sharp, machine-like faces and right angles so precise they have baffled researchers for centuries. Crucially, Pumapunku predates the Inca by a very long stretch of time. This is not one anomaly, but a pattern across thousands of years. This is a repeated mastery of moving and fitting impossibly heavy stone, running across the Andes and backward through thousands of years of history. This is the point where many treatments reach for dramatic shortcuts, lost super-civilizations, visitors from elsewhere, forgotten impossible technologies. None of those ideas deserve serious engagement. Inventing an answer is not the same as having one. The honest position is more interesting. These structures were almost certainly built by gifted, highly organized, patient people working with deep accumulated knowledge across many generations. The Inca and their predecessors were not primitive. They were master engineers operating at the very edge of what their materials and methods allowed. But saying people built it is not the same as saying we know how. The explanations that sound complete quietly sidestep the hardest questions. The impossible precision of the joinery, the logistics of 200-ton stones through mountains, the pattern repeated again and again across a vast region. That is not a cover-up or conspiracy of silence among researchers. It is simply the honest and uncomfortable size of what we still cannot fully explain. The stones are real, the weights are real, the precision is real. And after 5 centuries of examination, the complete answer remains genuinely out of reach.